Hi everyone, a very good noon. I hope I'm visible and audible. Good noon, all of you. Visible, audible, need to know this. All right. So let's begin our session. This is the part 5 of our vocabulary series. In case you haven't watched the earlier parts, I would strongly suggest that you go through them because we have covered a significant number of words in those parts as well. Right, and my effort is always to show you the various question types that come in your entrance test and to give you high frequency words, the kind of words that you would come across very often, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tina. Good noon, Pratyusha. Good noon, Shri. How are you guys doing? Yes. So today I'll talk to you about synonym antonyms, fill in the blanks, analogy questions, right? Word meaning. So these are your usual entrance test question types, and through these, of course, we'll learn some new words, right? So here's your first question. This is a fill in the blank question. There are two blanks. Tell me which option is the correct answer. Yes, four options. Which is correct? Good noon, Ritik. Hello, Tarun. So, Harshad says B. Okay. Tina says D. Pratyusha B. Kritika D. Okay. D. All right. A. Okay. Okay. So, those who have said D are correct. Okay. Let's see why. Now, this is a moderate level question. Okay. I wouldn't call it very easy also. Right. It's not very difficult either because you can eliminate. Okay. So, lifted from the ground, the man became the earliest anatomy, you understand, our physical features, the earliest anatomically modern human, and the start of a new branch, Homo sapiens, the start of a new branch on the family tree of humanity. So we are talking about a tree here. What kind of tree? The family tree of humanity. That first dash 4 million years ago. So this tree, when did this tree originate? Okay, 4 million years ago. So which is the most appropriate word for a tree originating, let's say? Began, the tree began. No, the tree burgeoned. Burgeon is to swell excessively, right? So when, let's say, I talk about the burgeoning cities or the burgeoning size of something, that means it's increasing in size. Okay, so burgeoned does not make sense because it started at this point. That's what I want to say. So germinated, all right. Sprouted also makes sense. Germinated is often used for seeds. Seeds germinate, right? Now, strangled, tangled. Strangled. What does strangled mean? To squeeze someone's neck. That is to strangle them. So the strangled family tree does not make sense. Okay, the first blank cannot have strangled. Tangled, yes. Okay. If the tree is huge, its branches will be tangled with each other, right? So tangled makes sense here, not strangled. Unswerving here means when something does not swerve, something does not shake with air, with other forces, that is called unswerving, right? It is also used for people's determination, unswerving determination. That means unshakable determination, right? So our answer here is D, Delhi. Okay, all right. Hi Sai, how are you? Ritik, this is not in my hand, so I would suggest that you contact our counselors or someone who enrolled you, right? They will handle this, and they'll tell you how to renew your access, right? Okay, so if somebody from the team is currently listening to me, currently looking at the session, watching the session, then you can just forward this concern of Ritik. Unwavering is a synonym. Correct, correct. Choke would be a synonym of strangle. Yes. No, it should be the tree of humanity because see, this branch Homo sapiens, it started on the tree of humanity. So it is the tree of humanity that should be our basis. Okay. So the tree of humanity sprouted 4 million years ago. Make sense, tree? Okay, so let's look at another question. So I thought to start with relatively more challenging questions today. So here's another question for you. Tell me what the answer should be. Take your time. Okay. Okay. I've got one response. Okay, three different responses. All right. So B, A, D, C. Okay. All right. So others. Yes, I want more responses for this one. So I've got three A's, two C's, one B, and one D. Okay. So three A's and three C's. So it's A versus C. Can I say that in the chat box? Okay. So see here, when you look at the first blank, so in such questions, when you feel that, okay, this could be a challenging question for me, look at various blanks simultaneously and eliminate. Right. So look at A and B here, option A and B. I found the third blank to be the easiest. For you, it could be some other blank. Why did I find it to be the easiest to plug in? Because it says everything became dash. So it reduced everything to the dash of objects. We are talking about materiality or materialism. We're talking about everything becoming a commodity. So everything is being commercialized in a way, isn't it? Everything became dash because everything became a commodity. Now, everything became useless does not make sense here at all, right? So B will be outrightly eliminated. That's the first option that I eliminated. Then everything became expensive because everything became a commodity. Are we concerned with the prices of things here in this particular paragraph? I don't see a particular concern with prices as such. The concern is that we are reducing everything to a commodity. That is the concern, isn't it? So I don't think that expensive is really the concern of the author here. Exchangeable, saleable, commercial, these appear to be the author's concerns. That every we made everything saleable. We said that everything could be exchanged. So it has to be between C, D, and E. Right. Now between C, D, and E, I looked at the first blank. Social dash. Social reality. What capital did to social reality? It's not like our reality is being, our social reality changed. It's our social relations that change. See, when we start treating everything as saleable, exchangeable, our social relations are also, they also become very transactional, no? We start thinking, okay, this is the benefit, monetary benefit that I can get from this person, right? So capital altered our social relations, and C is our answer here, right? Another clue for me was, so while these two blanks I paid attention to, I also paid attention to the last one. All reality was mechanically dashed by its materiality. Mechanically. So when we measure things in kilometers, when we measure the temperature, pressure, etc. of something, what is that? It's a mechanical measurement. We call these mechanical measurements, right? So I thought that, okay, this makes perfect sense here. All reality was, being measured by its materiality, right? It was being mechanically measured by its materiality, the material things that were present. So C makes perfect sense. Okay, I looked at the first blank, the third blank, the fourth, they made sense here. Equality. It reduced everything to the equality of objects. That means it reduced everything to objects. It made everything equivalent to objects. Okay, everything became equivalent to objects. That is what this part means. Okay, makes sense? All right. Now, one of you has asked that why is A not the answer? So, social justice, all right. Um, one thing was that I did not talk about any discrimination happening, right? Everything was being reduced to objects, but the author does not talk about any discrimination, any unfairness in this. So this itself becomes questionable. To the level of objects makes sense. Nothing wrong with the second blank. Third blank makes less sense as compared to these three here. So this becomes questionable. And mechanically measured is any day better than mechanically understood. You have mechanical measurements not uh, understood through its reality would still make sense, but any day again this is better. So this becomes questionable, right? So our answer is C. Yes. Looking at the third blank, you are right. Yeah, I also, that was my starting point too, eliminating using the third blank. Okay. So this was a good question for you. Yes. Moderate to difficult, we can call it. Now, let's see an easy one. What is the meaning of the word cynosure? Yes. Cynosure, what do we understand by this? Ritik, if you're still in the session, I messaged the team on your behalf and I've got this reply that we are working on fixing this. So don't worry. So I've got three A's. Okay. Four A's, five A's. All right. One C. So, uh, B, anybody? A laid back job? A laid back job is called a sinecure. So it's a similar sounding word, sinecure. SINECURE. Okay, not cynosure. Now, uh, cynosure is a positive word. Somebody who is the center of attention and admiration is the cynosure. So children on their birthdays, yes, they are the cynosures of everyone's eyes, especially their family's eyes, right? So you can associate it with that. It's not about criticism, it's not a negative word. Excessive certainty, no. It does not have anything to do with sure here, right? So eliminate it. Okay. So yes, I think it's a tech issue and we are working on fixing this. And yeah, don't worry. All right. How about this idiom French leave? Okay. So, have you heard of this idiom Irish goodbye? Irish goodbye. So, Irish goodbye and French leave mean the same. Okay. So, um, in the French, there is sometimes, basically various nations attribute it to each other. So, the French attribute, although it's called a French leave, but if you go to France, the French attribute this practice to the English. Okay, the English attribute it to the Irish, right? So, when you leave a party without informing the host, because let's say you don't want to disturb the host, or you don't want the host to insist that please stay for a little while longer, that is called a French leave. Leaving a party, leaving a place abruptly without informing the host, right? So, C is our answer here, right? Good. Many of you knew this. Good. Okay. How about this idiom purple patch? If I say this was a purple patch in his career. Okay. All right. You know, the color purple is associated with royalty. So, it's a period of success. Not a safe way to royalty, it's a period of success. There was this dye, a purple dye that was used in the official seals of royalty. From there, the color purple came to be associated with the royalty. And if someone has a purple patch, it's like they are the royalty during that time. So it's a period of success for them, right? Yes, in sports commentaries, you would hear it, purple patch. Yes. So, um, it's listening to commentaries is actually a good way of developing your idioms. I hear a lot of idioms when I hear cricket commentaries or some other sport commentaries, right? Where do I take these things? So, how do I create questions? See, there are lists that I have of high frequency words. So around them, I frame synonym antonym questions, right? Again, there are websites for idioms and phrases. For instance, I have suggested you also this website, phrases.org.uk. So I go to these websites, I look at their idioms of the day, right? Look at some other frequently used idioms. It also tells what idioms are trending these days, right? Which are more in the use these days. So from there, I create these questions. So that's how questions are created, right? Then some I look at your previous year papers, I adapt those papers, modify those questions. That's what I do. So that's how we create questions. Okay, all right. Analogy. So you have to give me a relationship that is similar to this given relationship. Yes. CAD. All right. What else? Okay. I've got five A's, two C's, one D. Okay. Why not C though? Those who are saying A. What's wrong with C? They are synonyms. This given pair is a synonym pair, right? So levity. If let's say there's a party that is characterized with levity, right? There was an atmosphere of levity all around. If I say that for a party, that means there was a lot of lightheartedness. There was a lot of banter, jokes were flying around, right? It was that kind of a party. So tell me, levity, yes, levity means lightheartedness. The word the root lev actually means light, right? That is why, when you levitate, you rise above the ground. When saints, they levitate, what do? They rise above the ground, right? So the root lev means light. So when you rise above the ground, basically you are light. So levity, when you're in high spirits, that is levity. Okay. B, C, all right. So A is the answer. You are right. I was just trying to confuse you. Now, why C not the answer though? Some students do get confused with C here. Innocence. A person who is innocent is called ingenuous, is also called ingenuous. Why ingenuous? What is the etymology behind it? Gen means born. So this person who is very innocent, who's very naive, acts like he or she were born yesterday. That's the idea. And that's why ingenuous. Right? The noun of ingenuous, the noun form of ingenuous is ingenuousness. Ingenuousness. It's not ingenuity. Then what does ingenuity mean? Now, there is another quality that a person can possess. A person can be ingenious. What can a person be? Ingenious. And this is the spelling. Don't think that I've added an O from my end. यही होती है spelling. Ingenious का क्या meaning होता है? Yes. Someone who's very clever, original, inventive. Okay. Inventive, clever, original. Right? So, various inventors of the past, they were ingenious. The noun form of ingenious is ingenuity. So, actually, students think that they are synonym pairs, but in a way, they are antonym pairs. Innocence is when you are naive, you're not very clever. Ingenuity, on the other hand, it is associated with cleverness, originality, inventiveness. So, C is eliminated. Levity, yes, if you use it in a negative sense, yes, it means that, when you just downplay something, right? When you don't show it proper respect. Correct, correct, correct. That is also one meaning, right? But levity also is about this atmosphere of, when everybody is in high spirits, right? It has a positive meaning also and a negative meaning. So, if we were discussing, A is the answer. Gravity is to seriousness. Now, I understand some of you must be thinking that this is the gravity that we talk about in physics. So, that is one meaning of gravity. But gravity is also the noun form of the word grave, right? Something that is grave. is serious, right? It's a grave matter. It's a matter of grave concern. So gravity means seriousness too. Okay. You do not realize the gravity of the situation right now, the seriousness of the situation. Okay. Impunity. Impunity. What does this mean? Yes, the Dua Lipa song. A lot of students give this example. I think I'll have to listen to it. So, impunity. What does this mean? There's im. Im is a negative prefix. There's punishment spun, right? So, impunity is when you can get away from punishment, right? So, a lack of punishment is called impunity. So, and how it is used? He commits crimes with impunity. That means he knows that he'll not be punished. So that's how we use this word, with impunity, right? Or he enjoys impunity, even though he keeps committing one crime after the other. All right. So that is impunity. Word par made easy in 30 days. Uh, Excellent, Ritik. I'm so happy that you finished two books. There is another one that I would suggest to you now, all about words. It's slightly more advanced, right? But since you finished the other two, you will really enjoy this. Okay, all about words. Okay. Now, depravity is to righteousness. Who is a depraved person? What does it mean to be depraved? Depravity is the noun form of depraved. Moral depravity. We use this often. So again, try to recall context. See, to be honest, even I never looked up the meaning of the word depraved. It's just that I read it in a lot of books, in a lot of places in the newspapers, that okay, the moral depravity of our civilization, or he was a depraved person for the villain in a novel, that I associated it with somebody who was immoral. I never had to look up the meaning as such. So that's what you should also do. Recall the context in which you have read something, and for that you have to read a lot, right? So reading actually helps you in building vocabulary. So depravity is immorality, righteousness is the opposite. Clear to everybody? Any word that is not clear? Okay, then let's come to a synonym question. Tell me, what is the synonym of benefaction? Yes. Okay, Vedant has answered. Shifana says B. Okay. So give me the meaning of this prefix ben, this root fact. The tion we attach when we want to make something into a noun, isn't it? That is when we attach tion, right? Superstition, so it's a noun, right? Cognition, it's a noun. Ignition, noun. So that's what we do. Anyway, ben and fact, what do they mean? Okay, BAC. All right. C is about conserving. How is that related to benefactor or benefaction? No. What is penury? It is poverty. Penury is poverty. So that is again, that is in fact of the opposite nature of the meaning of our word. So eliminated. When I find something magnificent, I find it very impressive. Okay, something that is very grand, very impressive. That is magnificent. Eliminated. Donation is the answer. You are right. But why is this the answer? Ben means good, fact means do. So when you donate, you are doing a good thing, right? From there comes this word. Benefactor is, yes, a lot of you have written this in the chat box. Absolutely, this is the more common term. A benefactor is a person who does something good for you. Usually, your patron, someone who supports you financially, Let's say you are entering a particular career that requires a lot of investment, and then a person, it could be a relative, it could be a friend, comes and says that okay, I'll support you financially. That person becomes your benefactor. Or let's say you want to become an actor, now you don't know much, you haven't learned acting. A renowned actor who happens to be your acquaintance, he or she agrees that okay, I will mentor you. So it is not just financial, right? Any mentoring, any support that is provided in your development is done by a benefactor. Okay, so hope this is clear. Now, coming to our next question, read the instructions carefully. Yes, Ben means good, correct. Okay, Vedant says C. Others, Shri also says C. All right. What does it mean to debunk something? Yes, again, see, I recall the context. She debunked that myth. So she debunked the myth. That means she's showing that okay, this is just a myth, right? And this is just a belief, a false belief. So she showed that it was false. So to show that something is false is to debunk. Now, it does not relate to hoodwink. Hoodwink actually means to trick someone, to deceive someone. So delude, bamboozle, even outwit to a lot of extent. They are all synonyms. Okay, they are all synonyms. Delude, outwit, bamboozle, they are synonyms of hoodwink, right? But debunk is not. Here you show that something is false. So to hoodwink is to trick, to deceive, right? Hope this makes sense. And let's see, match the antonym question. So yes, match the words to their antonyms. Correct, Vedant, correct. To bargain and to betray someone. To betray someone is hoodwink, yes. Acha, I've got one response already. Prasanna says D should be the answer for this match the antonym. What do the others say? Okay. Tanya D, Shri D, Vedant C. Choose the, see, this is the beauty of a match the following question. You may not know the meanings of all the words, and that would still be okay if you're able to eliminate smartly. Right? So so for instance, perilous is dangerous. It's an easy word. Similarly, puerile we have done in a previous session that it means childish. Right? So you already know the meanings of two words here. Perilous is dangerous. In case you have been attending my sessions regularly, I have also told you the meaning of imperious. Somebody who is very dominating and arrogant. So this way you can just match the following. Okay. Perilous waters. Let's say you are talking about dangerous waters in an ocean, so you call them perilous waters, right? It's a perilous territory. So this is not, I mean, an uncommon word. Similarly, puerile for your entrance test specifically, and I have covered it in a previous session also. Sagacious, again, one of the favorite high frequency words of your entrance test. It means somebody who is wise, especially wise because of their age, right? Wise, the wisdom that is attained through age is called sagacity. So wise because of age, right? Uh, the exact opposite, if you need the exact opposite of this, no. So puerile, childish is the opposite, but there's a word called callow. So callow means young and inexperienced. So somebody who is naive because of their age, right? Young, inexperienced, and naive. That's how I should write it. That person is callow. So that's the exact opposite. So now you know that 4 is A. The moment you realize this, even if you realized one of them here, no, you could have solved this. Similarly, there's just one option that says 1 is B. Biddable. Someone who will always listen to you. Okay, obey you very easily. Somebody who's very pliant, obedient is biddable. So, yes, perilous comes from peril. Correct. Correct, Virendra. Overweening. This could be a new word for some of you. Someone who's always, somebody who's overconfident, always boasting, full of pride, full of himself. That person is overweening. So, the opposite is somebody who is shy and hesitant, diffident. See, confident is when you're not shy, diffident is when you are shy and hesitant. Right? Guarded. So, perilous is dangerous, guarded is safe. And that's how we have arrived at our answer. You just needed to know one pair to attempt this. One out of, let's say, one or four, right? If you knew either of these, you could have solved this. है ना? Easy. Sorry. Look at this one. Okay. All right. Okay. Hmm. So D, A, B. Okay. What is the meaning of this? Gossamer? Gossamer, actually. That's how they should pronounce it. Gossamer. So there are some pronunciation habits that are difficult to leave, but we should keep trying, right? And we should try that whenever we learn a new word, we learn its pronunciation then only. Because see, I read this word, let's say since childhood. I don't remember when I first read it, and that's how I pronounced it in my mind. I never really checked the pronunciation. So I pronounced it as gossamer. Then recently when I checked it, the pronunciation is gossamer. So it's always better that whenever you learn a new word, check the pronunciation right away so that you don't suffer from this later on. Right? A, D, all right. So gnarled is the answer here. Gnarled. In fact, the G is very slow pitched and silent, so to say. So gnarled trees would be what kind of trees? Yes, all tangled with each other. Yes. So we are talking about these twisted, intertwined trees that provide shade to many. Right. Now, a gossamer cannot be used for trees. What does it mean? Something that's, it's a very delicate fabric. Any fabric that's very delicate, transparent is called gossamer fabric. Okay. Then garnish. No, garnishing is something that you use in cooking. Germane to the issue. We again see. I recalled. Okay, this is not germane to the issue, or this is germane to the issue. So germane means relevant. So let's say you raise a point and your colleague says, "Oh yes, this is germane to the issue." Your point is germane. Your point is relevant to the issue. Crooked, yes, crooked. Vedant. We can call them crooked. Okay. So A is the answer here. All right. The last question for the day. Let's see what you say. So, Prasanna, see, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. These are the four elements to learning and becoming fluent in any language. Okay. So, especially when you're talking about fluency, listening and speaking play a lot of role. Even reading does, because that's how you pick up, okay, which words should I place next to which words, right? You learn the structure. So these are all intertwined, and you should indulge, you should immerse yourself in these aspects of a language when you want to learn it, right? And we are so fortunate that we live in this age of social media, when we are exposed to one or the other at all times, right? Just that we are probably not, let's say, following the right pages there, or we're not listening to the right things. So there are so many podcasts that are available that you can listen to, that will actually make you more fluent in English. There are so many dedicated to English podcasts that you can listen to, right? So Spotify has them. Then speaking, please make it a point to converse with your friends at least in English, right? I understand that sometimes it feels unnatural, but if you want to improve, if you want to ace your PIs, I think you should do this right from now. Reading and writing, anyway, I think you must be reading a lot. This is my assumption, and I hope that you are fulfilling my expectations here, that you have been reading every single day. I usually suggest my students that read for at least 40 minutes every day, because your VRC section is of 40 minutes. So that will be your, it will be a time of intense reading and solving. So why not build that stamina? You can start small, start with 15 minutes, start with 20 minutes, and then gradually go up, right? And writing, it helps a lot in deciding what exact word fits in a particular sentence. So pick up topics, see what all topics came in the past year WATs, right? Find out, first read about those topics. You may not know much about those topics, so read, gather knowledge on those topics. Okay, and then make it a point that at least once a week I have to write one essay, at least once a week. And not a very long essay, a 300 to 350 word essay would do, right? So when you do all of this, you will become more fluent, right? For me also, it happened this way only. Just that probably my, let's say, my interest in reading contributed to it, right? That I didn't have to make a lot of effort towards it. But you also can do it, and reading is interesting. I think it's interesting for everybody. The JK Rowling says this, that if you say that reading is boring, if reading doesn't interest you, that means you just haven't found the right book yet. Yes. All right. So C, B, these are the answers that have been given. Now B, sorry, C is the answer here, not B. I understand you're marking B, but look at the tone here. See the tone. Again, the context determines the tone. Regrettably, we are regretting something. Okay. August forum. August means respected, esteemed, right? Esteemed. So regrettably, this is happening. A vote for one's dash has become a dash in India's August forum, right? So that means something negative is happening. See, a vote for one's constituency has become a practice. We don't know whether this is a positive development or a negative development. It could be positive also, right? It could be neutral also. So I can't call it negative. But if the vote for your conscience becomes a rarity, that means you no longer vote based on your conscience. You are rather driven by other considerations. Let's say you are driven by material considerations or what your party is doing. That is regrettable. Hence, C. Okay? Bye bye. See you.